RotoGrinders, welcome to Monday, the start of, I was going to say 2+ hours of MLB DFS conversation, MLB DFS talk, some sports betting, of course, some prize picks I'm sure will be worked in. We got Will, Chief Justice, that's kind of a specialty of his, but yeah, we're going to be stepping aside a little bit early to yield to the Crunch Time crew. Y'all going to get Derek Carty and Dave Potts, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, I believe around 6:10 on the East Coast. If you aren't aware, the sites did not coordinate today. Fanduel, as you know, they're going with the 7:07 traditional start, a 6-game slate over there, and Draftkings, they're starting early because there's 2 6:40 games, so they're going to be including that on their main slate. So we'll have 2 different conversations to some extent as far as the slate. So if you guys are asking questions in chat, feel free to, more specifics are better. Let us know if you're playing Draftkings or Fanduel. That is helpful. So we can answer your questions. What's up there, chat? Kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Hit all the buttons. Hit all the things. Ask all the questions. Interactive show. Keeps it more interesting. Stevie said pre-show, oh, we're only getting an hour. That means no nonsense. And I kind of disagreed. I think we went to, we kind of jumped into the intro there. But we can still, Stevie, of course, y'all know Stevie from such things as NASCAR and the Morning Grind podcast, amongst other things, disc golf. How are you on a Monday afternoon, a Monday morning? Monday morning? It's Monday. It's almost Monday evening. What's up with you, Stevie? How are things?
It feels like Monday morning. I'm still tired. Trying to recoup from the weekend. It was a long weekend.
Did you go to Daytona?
Yeah, it was just a lot of sitting around watching rain hit the track. So it's just it's one of those types of weekends. And those weekends, while they don't sound like terrible, it was just long. So yeah.
Do you have like press credentials so you can go in and hang out, or where are you at as far as you're waiting for the rain to stop?
Yeah, I have a media hard card, so I can hang out and just sit in the AC, which sounds fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's still very boring.
Who was the guy that's like a big DFS? Is it Danny Hamlin? Isn't there one of the race car drivers that's like a big fan of DFS? Is it Hamlin? Am I right with that?
I don't know if he plays anymore. I haven't talked to him in a while, like pre-COVID.
Okay. But once upon a time, that was a thing.
Yeah, he used to play a lot. I don't know if he still does.
All right, there you go. Hey, it's Chief Justice Will. From such things as multiple things, but the prop shop is that kind of the lead on the resume? Is that what the people know you for most, Chief? I mean, of course, you're great at DFS as well, but I guess that's what it is, right? Is that what people think of you of the prop shop?
I guess we can go prop shopping in today's streets. I mean, back in the day, I was cutting some butt in DFS, and I will be fully in the streets during NFL season. Just so much money on the table once a week. I probably will play some Showdown, and then when the NBA comes back, I think I'll dabble in a little Showdown in that. Like once Showdown kind of came out, it did kind of change my approach to DFS a little bit. And then once all the prop sites came out, it just to me it's revolutionized what you can do with daily fantasy sports. And so I tend to lean more to the prop side because it's, I can kind of try and determine, how I think a guy's going to perform based on the data points and go from there. And it's kind of like building the lineup, but kind of not also, they set a line and I decide whether it's right or wrong and I go from there. So I love what I do. I love the prop shop. I'm glad, you guys come in and contribute, and everybody that's there makes it better. So there you have it.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I'm officially excited for the NFL season. I believe we're 10 days away if you want to count the Thursday night kickoff. Don't know who's playing, but I will be playing the Showdown. I was the old curmudgeon with my arms crossed when Showdown first came out. And it's just a money grab, whatever. I don't want. But then it's kind of fun, and it's the worst too when you're up like $50,000 in like one play. Oh, now I'm barely breaking even. This is just how that goes. I like it. I've been persuaded on it, and I'm going to play some Showdown as well. We're going to be doing some live shows, like watch along shows. I'm not sure everything's not just finalized.
Is it going to be Monday nights like we did last year?
So I don't know who is a part of the crew, but I'm in the bucket of people that are doing it. Monday, Thursday, and Sunday we're gonna be doing some live shows, and myself and Blender on Sunday. That's a combination that the people are begging for sure. Myself and Blender, like the last hour of NFL, we're gonna be hanging out and just doing a Twitter Spaces. I'm an old person, so I'm not exactly sure. I know what it is. I've been on one before. But that's going to be happening if you all want to interact with us. Like the last hour, I assume it's just going to be a tilt fest. Me and Blender like saying all the things that should have happened or how we got screwed. I don't know.
Well, if I'm in the running on Sunday for the Mlb, please have me on. I'd happily come on and sweat if I'm anywhere close.
Would you? Would you be the guy that's
sweat?
Yeah. So some people probably like to sweat in their own way. Like I've never been in a position to win $1 million. But you'd be okay. Like some people just want to go like in the corner and drink their favorite lucky mug or whatever. I don't know. But so you'd be okay hanging out with the people and just sweating it out in front of the millions that are watching.
Man, if I got a shot, man, let's get the joint sweat going, Dean. You know I'm all about the joint sweat. I'm here for it.
Yeah, we're still we're still kind of figuring out, but I think that's a fun idea to bring if we can bring people on that are
speaking of shenanigans, Dean. Speaking of shenanigans.
Yeah,
I think Stevie can attest this. I think Stevie was in the shop that night, in and out. I think the biggest sweat we had last football season was getting Cam Hayward over his tackles, and he hit the prop with like 50 seconds left or so. Do you remember that, Stevie? I think that was the biggest NFL sweat we had last year. It's incredible, really. Incredible.
I don't remember what I had for lunch yesterday.
For New Orleans, I believe he plays for the Saints, at least he did last year. Is that
so? No, not Cam Hayward. He was playing for the Steelers.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different person. Yeah. Never mind. But
we know who has not done NFL research yet.
Well, it's funny because I wrote the AFC West, so I know the AFC West pretty well. The rest of it, I mean, I'm getting bits and pieces, and Stevie, I'm not sure if you're aware. It's daily fantasy sports. We care about today and today only. And today, I don't need to care about the Pittsburgh Steelers or the New Orleans Saints. I don't care. When the time comes, when it matters, when they're playing that particular day, I'll be on top of it. And also like defensive guys, I know like collective defensive units. I've heard of Aaron Donald. I know some of the guys, but I'm not somebody that can rattle off like the entire depth chart for a defense at any point in the season, to be honest. That's just not me.
Will can. Will gets those tackles over there on Prize Picks, so he knows those defensive guys. He knows what's going on. Like,
I can't wait. Tackle props and kickers. If you didn't know, you better find out. Tackle props.
You just mess with Dean's head so much. You said kickers and defense in the same sentence, and he's over there going, no chance.
You think that, Dean? Tackles and kickers, some of the best sweat props on Prize Picks for NFL. My God, I love those.
Your videos were very tackles centric, if I remember correctly. But if there is an edge, I'll bet anything. If you tell me there's an edge here, I'll bet it.
Well, there's a massive edge in disc golf on Prize Picks for tomorrow.
There you go.
Yes.
Well, how do we get posted?
Yeah, I already posted. I mean, I'll give out some if we want, but they played this course in April, and it was like 30-mile-an-hour winds, and Prize Picks is giving us those type of lines, and there's going to be 5-mile-an-hour wind tomorrow. I watched a practice round video where they shot like 13 down, and like some of these guys' lines is like 1 and 2 down, so very heavy on Prize Picks disc golf tomorrow.
Hey, Will, your Carolina Panthers just acquired a player. Are you aware of this?
No.
I just said it before the show, Dean.
I didn't hear it. Well, Will didn't hear it either. No, nobody listens to you apparently.
No, I don't think I was in. I don't think I was in yet.
I said it right before the intro. I mean, geez, why do I speak?
NFL DFS Twitter loves this guy. It's like Fetch. They've been trying to make him happen for years. It's not happened just yet. Maybe this is the year. Probably not. But Laviska Shenault's a Panther. Congratulations.
Oh, I don't mind that at all. That's great. No, seriously.
The chat's giving me the business.
Okay, let me tell you why I say that, Dean. So when we had Curtis Samuel, our offense had a different feel to it, right? Because we had like a Swiss Army knife guy that could do a lot of things. He was kind of like Deebo Samuel, but Curtis. And We still had DJ. We still had McCaffrey. We got Robbie Anderson on the outside who's got a little speed. Now you're telling me we get Chanel. Oh, this is fantastic. They're trying to help Baker Mayfield secure a job. I like it. And I still don't like Baker Mayfield for what it's worth. But listen, if he's going to be the quarterback, I'm going to support him. I don't have to like you to support you for our team to win. Let's go. And when I say I don't like Baker, this is not as a person. I don't think he's a great quarterback. That's really what I'm saying. All right, Dean, I'm going to be quiet and let you lead this ship so we don't have so many shenanigans.
Do either of you guys follow Kirkwood on the old Facebook?
I do.
Kirkwood in chat saying, he just gave the obligatory post about, you have a baby, or his fiance had a baby. Congratulations once again. He gave the obligatory post, so you got to give it the obligatory like and say how cute the kid is, I suppose. So just a heads up. And hope all is well in the Kirkwood household, and hope they're getting a decent amount of sleep. Hey, we can dive in and talk about this slate. Again, 6-gamer on Fanduel, 8-gamer on DK. DK starts at 640. We're here all the way up to 640. We're going to yield the crunch time at 610, about an hour or so. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth coming in, leading the show with Carty and Cheese. I saw the RotoGrinders account, by the way, maybe we'll save that for later, but they were, I don't know if you guys, how much of the crunch times you watch. I always watch the crunch times, for whatever reason of late, Dave and Carty have always gotten to some sort of healthy disagreement, a healthy argument. And the RotoGrinders account has already started up, basically made it like a boxing matchup, like the picture of the two. But I'm looking forward to that show later, and hopefully they disagree on something else. I like a good, healthy disagreement. We agree too much, Stevie. We should argue about something organically.
I mean, when do me and you ever agree on anything?
We tend to disagree a lot. Yeah, you're right, yeah. But we don't get angry about it, though.
I'm not an angry person.
Say it again?
I said I'm not an angry person. I'm pretty chill.
You got to do it for the audience, though. You got to amp it up. The people like that. That's when the likes start coming in, I believe.
All right, well.
I don't know. It's got to be organic. How about yourself, Will? You feel like yelling and arguing about something today?
Nope.
We're just too agreeable. All right. Well, maybe
I had plenty of hot takes, and then I had plenty of hot takes, and Gonzalez got scratched. So, this slate just came. It's just a slate now.
Was your hot take that Gonzalez was going to get the top pitcher in the slate?
Yep.
Interesting. He is dealing with an arm or something like that. Who knows how serious it may or may not be. He was replaced by a 4K pitcher for what it's worth. So I think in the mix, in the bucket, we'll talk about that. The guy he's got an arm. He's throwing baseballs against the Marlins. The Marlins are not good. He is stretched out and he is 4K. And there is your sales pitch for Michael Grove. I don't know which. Is it Grove?
Yeah.
Okay, he got his face punched in and is only starting the majors, but whatever. We're not gonna beat him up for that. But he wasn't great in his one spot start. And I guess the other cheapie pivot we'll talk about is Brian Baio, who his numbers are so weird, man. I'm sure you've looked at this, Stevie, as a Red Sox fan. It's just 22 innings pitched. His homer in the fly ball was 0, so he's not giving any homers because he's not giving any fly balls. 15.5% fly balls. The ground balls are spectacular. 67% ground balls, but the BABIP is insane at 4.72. Which kind of yields a 7.36 ERA. I think he's an interesting cheapie. I don't know why I'm leading with that, but since we're there, I'm sure you have a thought, Stevie, as far as Baio.
Yeah, uber talented young pitcher. Just don't know if he's ready yet. Really has struggled with command, but still generating a ton of ground balls, like you mentioned. Doesn't give up a ton of hard contact either. Has a really good 3-pitch mix: fastball, slider, changeup. Top 5 prospect in the Red Sox organization, top 40 in baseball. I've talked about him on shows and on podcasts before. His command is the biggest issue. That's the one thing that you're super worried about when wanting to play him. And there's not a lot of high walk rate guys in this Minnesota lineup, which kind of helps him. But it's more. I'm not even worried about the walks. It's more. I'm just really worried about the command.
Yeah, Baio in the season, 11% walks is not necessarily ideal. I think there's 6 pitchers on Will in the roster on DK, and he's one of them. Give me the screenshot, Stevie. I'll go to Will in a second. What is your screenshot? Because I think it's 2 pretty clear, like, best pitchers as far as his talent, as far as K rate. One's got a distinctly better matchup than the other one. It's a little bit different on DK as far as hitters because you got a big total for St. Louis, positive ballpark jump, facing Chase Anderson, who knows how long he's going to pitch for, maybe 2 innings, possibly 3 innings. That's going to turn into a bullpen game. We do love lefties against, the Cardinals against lefties are the best team in all of baseball, not even close, not even a conversation. But a reverse splits righty is not so bad either. And that's what we're looking at as far as Anderson. And then whoever comes in from that bullpen. Give me the screenshot here, Stevie, and I'll hit you next, Will.
I mean, as far as pitching goes, I think Burns is the clear-cut number 1 guy. And then considering price, I would rank Berrios and Montas ahead of Carlos Rodon today. So those would be my top 3 guys. I don't know if I'm going to use Michael Grove or not. Miles Mikolas is in the conversation. Ranger Suarez is in the conversation. There's like 5 guys, 6 guys that you could potentially play today, but I really focusing on Burns, Berrios, and Montas for the most part. And I'm a 3 lineup person. I'll probably have Burns on all 3 lineups, and I'll probably fade Carlos Rodon tonight.
The ownership is really interesting too, and I'll jump to you, Will, because we're looking at Burns on DK at 62%. DK does not raise the prices of their pitchers. Pittsburgh, we love picking on Pittsburgh at lefties, but they stink against righties as well. I believe I happen to have my numbers that I was writing up earlier today, and now I'm just buying time to scroll to it as far as, Pittsburgh against righties, also not very good. They strike out the 24th, the 5th most in baseball. They're 24th in ISO, so no power, 28th in WOBA, and 28th in WRC plus. That's against righties. They're bad at it as well. Burns, the 2nd highest Ks in the slate, 2nd lowest Sierra. Rodon, a little bit better in both, but again, his matchup against San Diego distinctly worse. Doesn't mean he can't get there. I do think Rodon's an interesting pivot in tournaments, but I agree with Stevie. Regretfully, I agree with Stevie that Burns is the best pitcher on this slate from a raw points perspective, from just a rosterability perspective. But the ownership obviously reflects it, Will. 43% on Fanduel. That's a big number, man. And again, they of course, we're only looking at 12 pitchers, only 6 games over there. What are your thoughts here? Overall screenshot, and then bring in the pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just start with that, Dean. I think that's very important. I do think Burns is the top pitcher on the slate. I've done really well utilizing top arms, middle arms, bad arms against the Pittsburgh Pirates. All have done really well most games. I don't think there's anything different here. This is something that Stevie and I talked about on the pod last night. Burns has actually not pitched well against Pittsburgh. Like, when we say well, we're saying like massive upside. Okay, that's what we're saying. But I don't care. Like, this team is awful, and Burns is still over 30% K rate this season. He's at home. I don't think there's any reason Burns doesn't come in and mow this team down. When you look at the K rates here, I mean, God, man, just up and down this lineup, guys, over 20%, the mid 20s, some pushing 30. Burns 31.4% K rate, 3.41 xFIP, 6.9% walk rate. So hands down in terms of pitching, I think Burns is number 1. On DK, I definitely agree that the cheaper guys, I think, carry more value when you're getting Berrios and Montas, 76 and 7,200 respectively. I just think it's the right call. If I'm playing on DK tonight, most likely I can Burns. I just rotate Berrios, Montas, and maybe a couple other guys in and out. But Burns is a lot better for me.
Yeah, we're looking at Montas at 33%. He's been kind of dreadful. Well, not dreadful. He's been worse.
Guess what? He's facing the Angels today.
Yeah, and also it's baked into the price, right? The Angels, this is the best Angels lineup you're going to get, assuming Trout and Ohtani are in there. The rest obviously is garbage, but they have 2 studs. But 7.2K on DK, really, whatever sort of like holes you can poke in Montas, you feel better about that price. Rodon, we're looking at 26-27%. Barrios at 20. I like Barrios, like when you consider ownership amongst that group against a Cubs lineup that I'm not particularly afraid of. He's been all over the map this year, but like when he's good, he's really good. When he's bad, he's really bad. And hopefully he's really good today. And if he's going to be the lowest owned amongst that group, which I think that's correct. I think that's going to be the case. I think Montas will grab more. Rodon, just because of raw points and you can make it work. It's not that hard to go double barrel with Burns and Rodon, which is something I'm going to explore as well. Fanduel, Burns at 43 and then Rodon at 17 is just, man, that is a big leap. Like, is there a 2.5 times chance that Burns outscores Rodon? Like, maybe, possibly. Montas at 14, but he's 9-1 over there. I think Montas is much more appealing on DK. Of course, you can play him on Fanduel. Barrios at 8.5. I see in the chat. Oh, shout out to Big Hurt. Big Hurt turned 41. Went to a fantastic place called Top Golf. I am familiar with Top Golf. I was athletic back in my day, but golf was never my thing. There is some video of me being terrible at golf somewhere in the interwebs. Somebody can find it for sure, but it's not good. It's embarrassing. Hopefully we can scrub that. Yeah, just I embarrassed myself at an RG event playing Top Golf. It was not good. 41. That means you turned Glenn Rice today or over the weekend, or Kevin Brown, or anybody else for number 41. Tom Seaver. I got nothing else. That's what my brother. That's what my friends do. Like we turn a certain athlete, whatever the number at. What's a famous athlete number 41? I think those are the best ones. That's all I got. There's others, I'm sure. Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
What's that?
So those are good ones.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara is 41, right? I missed Kamara.
Yes.
All right. So, Stevie, what is your take as far as Barrios? I know you kind of mentioned him. You sort of threw it out there, but he's in the bucket for you. Barrios versus Montas, where they're basically the same price on DK.
Did you mention Dirk?
Dirk Diggler was 41? Yeah, I guess he was, right?
Yeah, he was 41.
Who's Cole Custer?
And old school, Tom Seaver was 41.
I threw out Tom Seaver.
Okay. I wasn't listening to you. What was your question?
Wait, was Ricky Bobby 41? Someone says Ricky Bobby in the chat. I don't know. Was he? You know this, Stevie? Probably, I imagine. What was his official?
I have no idea what his number was.
I have no clue either.
Cole Custer is 41 in NASCAR.
Okay, I didn't know if that was a real person or not. I thought I was getting like swerved in the chat. Is Cole Custer like a standard racer?
Yeah, he's normal.
Okay, I'm not aware of that.
I'm trying to think who else. John Lackey?
If only we had like a machine we can type this into.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could Google it, but I'm pretty sure John Lackey. John Lackey, I wore 41 too. I'm pretty sure.
That sounds about right. Oh, how did I miss Dirk? What a bad job by me.
I would say Dirk's probably the most famous 41.
Yeah.
What was your DFS question?
So on DK, where we got Montas versus Barrios, who do you prefer?
I mean, I think they're really close to the same. So right now we have Barrios at a lower ownership, so I'd probably prefer him. And I mean, outside of like Horner, it's a really decent strikeout team. So Barrios, with his lack of strikeouts, is getting a 6 right-handed team tonight that strikes out. So I definitely don't mind either one of these guys. Assuming that Trout and Ohtani plays, Angels lineup's a little bit better. Montas is probably a little bit better pitcher than Barrios, but right now I think I'm leaning Barrios. I currently have him on my single entry Fanduel. We have the $25 single entry over there series going on, and I built a single entry team for that.
Well, tell me more about the single entry series, Stevie. I haven't heard anything about it.
You're welcome. It's like I host every once in a while.
I wanted for more information. You're not gonna. I would want to enter this. How does one? Is there any kind of thing? It's a single entry series. Now, is there a reward? Maybe, possibly, whoever has the best cumulative, like top 4 scores throughout the week. Is there an additional prize for that?
Yeah, the top finisher in each series gets an all expenses paid trip. to the single entry series championship in Chicago on September 9th. That's right around the corner. It's really close. And a shot at the $10,000 grand prize.
You find out you win on what, Sunday night or Monday, and then you got to get in that plane like in 3 days. You got to drop everything.
Yeah, that's wild. That flight's probably not going to be that cheap either.
Hey, well, Fanduel, thankfully, is going to take care of it. I presume.
Yeah.
Wes, we're still throwing out names in chat. Wes Unseld. By the way, if anybody ever tells you like how good the players were in the 80s and the 90s, Will Purdue played like real minutes in the Will Purdue. He was number 41. Kevin Brown, fella, like 9-time champion Will Purdue, whatever he was. Wasn't he a champion like a bunch of times for the Spurs? I think as well. Doesn't matter.
I think what we've learned is there's not many like big names that have wore the number 41.
It's not the greatest. It's not the greatest athletic number. Eddie Matthews, old school baseball player, was number 41 according to the interwebs. I did not know that.
Victor Martinez.
Right? Victor Martinez. V-Mark.
Pretty sure he wore 41.
Borderline Hall of Famer? Borderline? Not going to make it, I don't think. Yaroslav Halak, the goalie. I'm aware of that guy for maybe the Islanders. All right. That's enough 41s, I suppose. But,
I guess Victor Martinez, I just looked up his stats, and he won 2 Silver Sluggers, 5-time All-Star. Maybe Hall of Famer?
Stan says Chris Sale, number 41. I don't know if he cut off the 4 or the 1 and you couldn't tell if it was 41. Maybe that's why we couldn't think of it. But
we just haven't seen him in so long we forgot.
Man, Chris Sale. Jeez. I know Kirkwood talks about his splits, like the before and after of getting the belly button ring. And he thinks that's kind of what broke him. I'm not really sure, but I don't know how much longer you guys are on the hook for Sale, but whatever that contract is, it's probably not looking great.
Yeah.
Other pitchers of note.
I played against him too growing up.
You played against Chris Sale?
Yeah, I played against DeGrom and Sale.
Were you a left? You're a righty, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine a lefty. I'm a lefty. I was lefty hitter. Well, Chris Sale, I hated hitting against lefties. That's in my brain. I don't like rostering left on left because like, oh man, I hated doing that. But what I don't realize in my brain, these guys are professionals and I was not.
Very true.
I can't separate that.
When I was 13, I think it was either 13 or 14. We were playing a travel ball tournament in Lakeland, and I watched Sale hit a home run. It was like the farthest home run I had seen at the time. It was crazy.
Yeah, the pitchers are like the best players back. They're the best hitters back in like you're 12, 13, 14, and then somehow things flip. Obviously, no.
Yeah,
Jackie
before
Robinson was 42, right? No, he wasn't 41. And one more year, we got Jackie Robinson for
42.
Yeah,
there's a whole movie based around that. But...
What's that movie called, Stevie?
I don't know.
I recently watched it again. Holds up. Well, what else do we have as far as pitchers? I'm trying to see. I saw somebody threw out Clevenger. For me, it's just not happening. I'm not doing
Dean,
that.
it's not much. I don't force myself into plays. And if you listen to the morning grind, you know this. I'm not forcing myself to play any of these guys overall. It's Burns, it's Barrios, it's Montas on DK. You hop over to FanDuel. I'm not playing Rodon today for what it's worth. I will have 0 shares. And that's nothing against him. I think Burns has way more upside than Carlos Rodon today. So, it's Burns. On FanDuel, it's Burns. It's Montas. I'm probably more inclined to play more Burns and Montas on FanDuel than I am to play Barrios, even though he's a little bit cheaper. I think Montas has a little bit more upside than Barrios today, but we can agree to disagree on that. But those are kind of my top 2. I'm not trying to force myself into any other plays. I've just kind of got to decide: do I want to go all the way up to Burns on FanDuel, or do I want to play Frankie, who's basically $2,000 cheaper, so I can get a few extra bats? Like that's kind of the 2 builds for me.
This is a revenge game. No, never mind. My apologies. I thought it was a Montas revenge game. For some reason in my head, I was heading against Oakland, but I was thinking terrible offense, which is true, but Oakland's a little bit worse. Of course,
Didn't they play Oakland over the weekend too? Is that what threw you off?
Is that might have been what threw me off, actually?
Yeah.
Did he not pitch that series? I guess he didn't. I assume he didn't because it'd be weird to pitch him like in back-to-back games. Yeah, so no official lineup just yet for some of these West Coast games. No Phillies, no Arizona, no Angels, no Yankees, no Padres, no Giants, no Pirates. As far as lineups for what it's worth, but spoiler alert, the Pirates lineup, it will be bad. Joseph Schaefer in chat, can we roster Burns and Rendon in the same lineup? I think so. I almost definitely will. In one of my main lineups on DK, I think so. But I'm fine stepping down to Montas. I'm fine stepping down to Barrios. I think you can absolutely play some Baio if you want to open stuff up. And I don't think it's crazy to play. I'm sorry, it's Grove, right? Michael Grove. Is that correct, Stevie?
Pretty sure.
All right. Yeah. Well, you've downgraded that. You were really confident earlier. What happened?
I mean, he's pitched one game, so I've heard his name one time, and it was how long ago? So
yeah.
I like watching, like I talk about this all the time, but I like watching Garoppolo signed another 1-year contract before. Anyway, but I like watching like guys that get called up that are, prospects. So, I mean, I watched a few innings of that game.
Shannon in chat's talking about Burns has been a little rough of late. Well, he put the Dodgers back-to-back outings, and he wasn't terrible the first time against LA. And LA
Please
really
fade Burns today. Go right ahead.
I'm okay forgiving him for getting beat up by the Dodgers. Like, it's okay. Like, he's been a little up and down. Like, you're right. Against Pittsburgh, he wasn't spectacular. Colorado, he wasn't great. But, like,
But, Dean.
Yeah.
You know how this works, Dean. You look at a game log, you say, oh, he hasn't pitched great. And then he comes out tonight and has 15 strikeouts because it's Pittsburgh. Like, I'm not going to overvalue this game log. And I say that I haven't seen anything that suggests he's fallen off of a cliff or even hurt. Versus last year, what I will say is when Carlos Rodon started having some rough starts at the end of the season, he had massive velocity drop on some of his pitches. I haven't seen that from Burns yet, so I'm inclined to believe he's okay. He's facing the Pittsburgh Pirates today, and he's at home. I don't think there's any reason to hop off the train here.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. If you want to not play him for ownership reasons or just kind of like lineup construction, I'm okay with that. But I'm not using the he's just not the same guy as he was. Like that's not what's chasing me away. And there's other options. You don't have to play him, but I wouldn't say you can't play him because he hasn't been spectacular of late. That's kind of where I'm at on it as well. Stevie, I just went and dropped somebody was asking about the weather or talk about the weather in chat. I dropped in Roth's weather report. Nothing too crazy. Precipitation, not an issue. We are seeing yellow-green in Cincinnati for what it's worth. I don't think we're necessarily working on the pitchers there anyway. Bad ballpark. And Cincinnati, essentially a bullpen game there. Well, that's kind of what we're looking at right now with Anderson maybe going 2, possibly 3 innings, who knows, something like that. And, of course, you're not rostering him anyway. And then Michaelis on the other side is just, a good real-life pitcher, but, not a K savant and not somebody I'm considering. Winds are blowing out in Minnesota for what it's worth. I checked out the old Weather Edge. It wasn't a big sample, so I didn't get a lot from that. But in the small sample, home runs and runs have gotten a bump for what it's worth. 76 degrees, 13-mile-per-hour winds to basically dead center. Otherwise, nothing really popping, but it is going to be cold in San. It's that weird combination, right, Stevie, where and we know that San Francisco ballpark kind of suppresses wind anyway. It is 13-mile-per-hour wind going to left center field, but it's also 59 degrees. In 364 games, that's a monster sample. Essentially, it's neutral. We've seen an increase of 0.1 runs, which is nothing, and a decrease of 2.9 homers. So, just throwing it out there. But I assume you have nothing here as far as weather and anything to add to that conversation.
I mean, the roof is open in Toronto. I don't know how wind really affects that with the roof open or not. I mean, I think we're going to have a very small sample size to try to figure that out. Anyway, Toronto's in a good spot regardless, so I'm not too concerned about that, and I'm not really worried about the Cubs having wind. So the only other thing that I'll mention really quick is the roof is open in Milwaukee. and they have a good umpire behind the plate that came out here recently. So Ryan Willis is umpiring that game. So Navarre is catching, good umpire. I mean, Burns just continues to set up as a fantastic play.
What is the temperature in Milwaukee and Toronto? Do we know this off the I mean, yes, we have a machine we can type this in too, I suppose, but I assume it's not scalding, and it's a nice temperature out where Milwaukee and Toronto would just sort of open the roofs. But I'm curious. I'll try to find that here on the fly, and maybe Roth can give something. And that, but the other thing is that you never really know what ballparks, how they're built and how winds work, and it depends on. And it doesn't happen very often with Milwaukee with the roof open, or even Toronto as well. That's interesting. All right, give me the summary, Stevie. Somebody just joined the show. I know you've been talking about the entire time, but somebody in chat just joined the show, and they haven't started from the beginning. That's okay. The numbers grow as we get closer to lock. So they want the summary. They want to know, like, who should we throw in as far as my pitchers tonight? What do you got for them?
I mean, I think we all agree Burns is the best play on the slate. I mean, when you're looking at ceiling, Carlos Rodon is probably the second highest ceiling, but when you're looking at matchup and everything else and price, I think Montas and Berrios, I would rank them ahead of Carlos Rodon today. That's really it for me. I mean, Michael Grove is super cheap on DraftKings if you want to take a shot on him and, get maybe one of your favorite stacks in there. I don't hate that idea. Definitely considering that out of my three builds. Lopez, tough matchup against the Dodgers. Clevenger, tough matchup against the Giants, and he hasn't really been pitching fantastic. Mikolas is okay. It's just the ballpark isn't great. And I think if you're looking for someone that's going to be low-owned and no one's playing today, you could take a shot on Ranger Suarez. Not typically a guy that we talk about very often, but definitely a guy that no one's playing today and has some upside with very little downside because of his ability to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Yeah, well, he does that with all his ground balls, right? His fly ball is 26.3%. The ground balls for Suarez is, if we can do a little scrolling here, 55.8%. That's obviously really good. 0.75 homers per 9. The homer and the fly ball pretty positive, just less than 11%. Yeah, I mean, he's fine, but his K is obviously not elite. 20%, walks a few too many, probably at 8.9%. I don't think I'm getting there. I'm also not running 150. Maybe if you're running 150, I suppose you could add him. Will, you have a thought as far as Suarez or anything else you want to add as far as pitchers?
Like I said, I don't mind these guys. Like Suarez isn't in the worst spot, but I feel like Burns, Berrios, and Montas have the best spots. And so I'm mainly sticking to that handful.
If Suarez was $1,000 cheaper on DraftKings today,
totally different story. He's in the mix.
I think the conversation would be way different.
All right, going to talk some stacks in a second. St. Louis, I think the most popular stack probably in the entire slate. Of course, you can only play them on DraftKings. They're not available on Fanduel. If you aren't aware, Fanduel is not including the first two games, St. Louis, Cincinnati, or Dodgers, Miami. Dodgers, by the way, without Betts. Betts has been homering like crazy in Miami. Not in that lineup today versus Pablo Lopez. We didn't mention Pablo Lopez, but fine pitcher, but I don't think he's particularly necessary on the DK slate. Of course, not available on FanDuel. So I'll throw it to you, Will, as far as favorite stacks. And according to our rankings, our favorite stack is St. Louis. St. Louis not on FanDuel, which is, again, that's going to shuffle up just the way hitters look to some degree. Do you agree with St. Louis being the best stack on DK?
I think they're top two. 1A, 1B.
Who's battling with them?
Toronto.
Yeah, it's the second team for me is close, but Javier Assad he wasn't really in their top 30 rankings as far as pitchers this year. He's jumped up, and depending on where you're looking, I saw him hit the 25 in that Cubs organization, and I believe he added some velocity as well too. One of the beats was talking about it, or one of the guys that follows their prospects, but yeah, not totally sold on Assad being legit, but he's taking steps forward if you buy into that. But talk to me about Toronto and talk to me about other stacks that are doing it for you.
Well, I just think Toronto is going to give him a really tough time today. So, when you've got young guys coming out, and I've seen it with everyone, Dean. So it's not like I'm picking on him. Even Blake Snell, when he first came into the league, he had some things to figure out. I think his first start may have been against the Yankees. Don't hold me to that, but I did watch I watched Blake Snell's very first start. I was in Florida at the time. We've seen it with, other guys like Brandon Baio. Same thing, right? Guys are going to struggle. When you come up to the big leagues, unless you're like just a dominant pitcher, it's a whole new ball game, right? Like, because seeing the best of the best mostly. So for a guy like Javier on the road going into Toronto, and I know I'm giving you some of the let's call it feelers, and I know a lot of times we want to dig into the numbers, and I do dig into the numbers. I think there's a combination of both that are very valuable, even though the feeling may not be completely quantifiable, if that makes sense. But I don't see him having a good day against a potent Toronto Blue Jays team. I mean, he's going to have to deal with George Springer, Vlad, Gurriel, Kirk, Matt Chapman's down in the 7 hole. Bo Bichette's going to give him problems. I don't think he has a good day. And so as a result, I really like the Toronto Blue Jays today. I think this is a spot where they can score, 7 to 10 runs with the way we want them to score it, Dean. I'm saying via the long ball. I can already see Vlad hitting a home run his first at-bat, right out of the park. Thanks, Vlad. I appreciate you. I do have his over bases today for what it's worth. This is just a good team. And so Assad should have some problems today. I really like the Blue Jays, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Do you throw out your questions as we're going to go around the horn? If it's relevant to the conversation, that's preferred, but I'll do my best to knock it out. Whatever is on your mind there, chat, kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. I don't know. We don't have a like goal or anything. Are we giving anything away today, Stevie? I know you gave away the Daytona passes last week. Anything for the people, or just we're just asking just for just to be nice. That's all.
I mean, yeah, just be nice. Maybe we do a surprise giveaway if we get enough. Who knows?
Well, I mean, I don't. Yeah. Well, that's kind of like a false promise, though, because now, I don't even know what that means.
Exactly, no one knows what it means.
I don't want to be attached to that bait and switch or something. But
no, I don't know. We didn't talk about it before the show, but I mean, I don't ever mind giving away a week of the NASCAR package.
There you go. Hey, so the four of us, myself, Dave Potts, Head Chopper, Mr. Tuttle, we all ranked the same 5 teams for what it's worth. So it's pretty much a consensus as far as which stacks are the best. It's interesting that nobody ranked Minnesota, nobody ranked Boston. They would probably be like 6, 7 possibly. Nobody ranked the Dodgers either. Bad ballpark, no bets. St. Louis number 1 consensus-wise, then Philadelphia, then Toronto, then Milwaukee, then the Yankees against the Angels. Stevie, what say you as far as stacks? Is that what's wrong there? What's correct there? Who do you want to add? Who do you want to take out?
I mean, I love the Cardinals today. If you're playing on DraftKings, they're my top stack. If you're playing on FanDuel, I love the Phillies and the Brewers. I mean, I definitely like the Blue Jays and the Yankees as well. So seems like we're all kind of on the same spot as far as bats. I love Philly today. I think they hit a bunch of home runs off of Madison Bumgarner. So going to be overweight on them. And like I said, on DraftKings, I really, really like St. Louis, like the Brewers. I like the Yankees and the Blue Jays. So, yeah, I mean, we're all kind of on the same page as when it comes to stacks. I mean, if I had to rank them today, I'd go St. Louis, Philly, Milwaukee, New York, Toronto. But, I mean, I'm playing equal amount of most of those teams.
Okay,
Dean. Oh, go ahead.
Last thing. Now let me give you my sneaky stack. They're probably not sneaky. They're probably not sneaky. But I talked about this on the morning grind as well, and I've stuck to this for the same reason that I really Blue Jays, the same reason I really like the Minnesota Twins today. Brian is probably going to get a few strikeouts, but I'm also expecting him to give up some runs. And so, you've got these young guys that are trying to figure it out at the big league level. And so, the Twins are probably going very overlooked today outside of a few pieces. I really like the Twins. Like, in fact, on FanDuel, I may just stack the Twins and the Blue Jays and go from there. probably just gave away the winning lineup, but I don't care. Still have to stack it the right way. I like the Twins today. Really like the Twins. Sneaky stack. A lot of cheap pieces that can hit. I mean, my boy Max Kepler is 2,500 on FanDuel for what it's worth. I think he's like 31 on DK. Like, man, that's insane.
You want the mush play? He stinks this year.
Okay,
he's been bad, and that's my problem with Soto. Like, I agree with your premise, and like we've seen bad Baio, especially when he starts walking guys. But Arise isn't going to homer. Like, okay,
but he's going to get on base though.
Yeah, probably.
You don't want to play the Steven Kwans and the Luis Arias, and they're going to cut your butt every time. Every time.
They take the scenic route, man. They need like 9 at-bats to get there. They'll eventually get there sometime.
No, they don't.
And there's no Buxton.
Everybody.
There's no Gary Sanchez. I don't know if like Sandy Leone. He's terrible. Like,
I got you.
This lineup's bad. It's a bad. But I understand the premise though. This is our organic fight. Stevie,
I digress.
Stevie, Minnesota, thoughts? You like this lineup?
I mean,
it stinks.
If the lineup's not good, but if Bella, like, if he does struggle with command, I mean, I could definitely see the lineup. Like, I could see the stack working. My problem with Minnesota today is they're getting a lot of ownership. So the fact that they're like the guys you want to play are like 10 to 15% projected ownership, like, just an easy stay away from me. Well, I'd rather go to a different team. I wasn't expecting them to get ownership, so for me, I'd rather just play a stack that I like.
Hey, Steve,
I think they get ownership because everybody wants to play Burns, for what it's worth. I think Burns is forcing ownership on Minnesota.
Stevie, you're double stacking the Twins and the Yankees. Cheyenne wants to know, you play Hicks or Kepler? Like I've said, Kepler's been terrible. I think Hicks has been worse, right? I mean,
Kepler.
I would play Kepler as well amongst those. Is St. Louis not on the Yahoo slate? Probably not. I don't know. I'm guessing Yahoo probably
not. They have the same 6-game slate as FanDuel.
Yeah. Mark wants to know, GPP winner, can you play Bayos and Burns? You can. Yeah, I have no problem with that. But just understand what you're getting into with Baio. He's got a wide range of outcomes, but certainly he could be optimal as well. I don't think that's – Minnesota's perfectly. You can throw somebody against them and you can roster them. I agree on both sides of that. Let's go around the horn and give our favorite
really
plays.
Quick. We just got an alert that Bryce Wilson is the starter for the Pirates tonight.
Oh my God!
Did he just pitch? He's like an opener.
Boy.
Wait, he didn't last very long last game, right? Didn't he get beat up by like Philadelphia?
He's not going to last long tonight either.
I think Philadelphia. He pitched 1 inning versus Philly on the 26th. So
Milwaukee stock going up right now.
Well, he's not going to pitch more than like 2 or 3 innings, I don't think.
Stevie, Dean, have you seen what happens to Bryce Wilson for those 1 to 3 innings?
I agree.
He's going to give up 7 hits, 5 runs. Oh man, it's going to be glorious.
Yeah. Wasn't it like Stevenson that was supposed to pitch for them? He's probably going to come in at some point. But wasn't Steven supposed to be the starter with Eichhoff coming in behind him possibly?
I mean, it's a bullpen game.
Yeah.
Just to say how it is.
It's a bullpen game. Yeah. We might get 2 innings out of Wilson. And like, I like that he's starting though. Yeah.
My interest in the Brewers just like went up 1,000.
Like we're talking like 6 outs. They're going to ask him to get. But
Dean, I don't think have you watched Wilson pitch?
I watched the Philadelphia game where Wilson got beat up.
I've watched Bryce Wilson pitch so much because I'm always on his live over pitches. He does not disappoint. Dean, they've given us Bryce Wilson at 16.5, 17.5 pitches in the first inning. Guess what? He always goes over. It's insane.
What is his like Sierra for this season, Bryce Wilson? 4.51's not completely dreadful.
Okay.
His ERA 6.01, so I guess you can say he's been a little bit unlucky. Left on base only 60%, 317 as far as BABIP. But yeah, he's not going to strike anybody out really. 14, 15%. He's not really going to walk many either. Less than 6% as far as walks. According to the chat, the Cincinnati game is delayed. What's the delay there? Is there weather issues? Oh, I think it was that. Let's see if Roth has an update on it. Well, he'll be on like in 20 minutes to let you guys know what's going on. But okay, that can change some things. And hopefully it's just a pitching thing and they're going to get the game in one way or the other. Let's go around the horn, Stevie. Who's the cheapest catcher you're on the roster tonight? Is it I never remember the guy's name. Like Kniezer? I never remember how to say that guy's name for St. Louis. Andrew, the catcher, not Yadier.
Catching stinks tonight. I mean, if you
Steve.
want to, what?
Get our boy Alejandro Kirk in there.
We live the world with salary cap, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I like
Kirk,
him.
Is he still cheap on FanDuel? He's been really cheap on
FanDuel.
FanDuel.
5-1.
Yeah, so like, I mean, I don't mind playing him on FanDuel. The fact that he's going to be like highly owned on DraftKings at 51, I'd rather go like Kisner, I think, at 2K and just punt St. Louis team that I already like. Yeah, that's really it for me. Chucky Robinson against Mikolas in that ballpark. I mean, a fluke home run is possible. So yeah, I don't hate that. And then whoever catches for the Yankees, Trevino's banged up. Maybe it's Higgs, so you could potentially play him. And then the only other person that I wanted to mention is Carson Kelly. Could potentially hit leadoff for Arizona tonight.
So Roth updated his weather, and Cincinnati is now orange-yellow, which that's getting into the I'm going to pay attention to territory. That could be alarming. Just went ahead and drop that in chat if you want to read that at your own leisure. 6:40 game. Okay, just of note. FanDuel, of course, you don't have to worry about it. It's not in the FanDuel slate, but DK, it's there. And thank you in chat, or whoever spelled it out for me phonetically, Mr. Richard Kisner. Why can't I say Kisner? I gotta get a couple letters out of the way, just erase them in my head because that does not look like Kisner. I can't believe Chucky Robinson's a real person. I do love that.
What a name, right?
You got it's solid. You got anything as far as catcher, Will? Like, salary cap wasn't a thing. I like Real Muto, but I don't know if I'm going to pay 5.7 for him. I'd like to. That's tough.
You got Sandy Leon down there at 2K in the Minnesota lineup. If you want to take that experiment, is that cheap enough for you?
He just stinks, but yeah.
He does stink. I mean, you got Jansen for Toronto as well at 3,600 on DK.
He's been good this year.
Yeah, but
he's in a 9-hole.
Yeah.
At home, so there's like a chance he only gets like 3 at bats, and they win like 4.
He probably only needs 1 today.
Yeah,
that's really all you need bat though, Dean. The one swing over the fence, and you've got your points.
Jacob Stallings is 2K for the Marlins against Grove. He's batting 6th. He's not good, but whatever. I that's not what I want, but if I love everything else around it, I think I like Stallings more than Sandy Leon if you're forcing me to choose between both of those guys. How about like some players we actually like, Will? What about first baseman?
I mean, it's all about 2 guys, maybe 3. And, of course, we're going to start with our main man all the way from St. Louis. That's Paul Goldschmidt, man. 6,200, I don't care. This is a good spot for him. I feel like the home run ball will be there. Love Vlad today. Love Freddie Freeman. I'm on the top 3 guys. I definitely think, there's some other guys you can play. But those 3, man, one of those 3 I think should be in your lineup. Paul, Freddie.
On FanDuel, Rowdy Tellez is like 2.8 over there. So I think he's going to be a really, really good cheapie over there.
Play him in the flex. You can play him in the flex. I
think Hoskins is the best value if you want to use the term value on FanDuel at 3.4. I just think that's a wrong price against Bad Bum. Lefty masher, if you want to call him lefty masher, and Bad Bum has just been a disaster against righties, backed up by one of the worst bullpens in all of baseball, locked in for 9 innings. Like Hoskins a good bit. Not somebody I have to force in on DK, but I like the 3.4 price on FanDuel. Jump in there, Stevie. First base, who do you like?
Tellez makes a lot of sense on DraftKings at 3.9. Yeah, I mean, Hoskins, Vlad, Goldschmidt are fantastic plays today. He saves you money and still gives you the same type of upside. Throwing every salary out the window, I think Goldschmidt's the top hitter on the slate. So I really like him. Don't mind Vlad. Really like Hoskins to hit a home run or 2 or 3 against Bumgarner because Bumgarner stinks. So my hot take on the survey today was Philadelphia hits 5+ home runs tonight. And I don't
can they do it? Can they do it after Bumgarner leaves?
No.
Did you bet Bumgarner over?
Well, listen, man, he was at 17.5 fantasy points. These lower fantasy point numbers, you'd be surprised. Like, man, they come through for us at 17.5. We had him projected at 22.
Yeah,
I had to do it. Like,
that's Fanduel scoring, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's done that 2 out of his last 6 games. He's not good. Sorry, I hate to be that person. I'm just saying.
We're good.
I hope it works out for you. And then on the selfish side, I hope Bumgarner doesn't get out of the first inning. So
this is the organic fight I was rooting for, and for what it's worth, on Will's side, like the median projection, understand, is 22 Fanduel points tonight. So I hear what he's saying. Second base is a disaster, like it has been. It feels like for a while now. I'm okay just getting in cheap and getting out if possible, but do you want to sell me, Stevie? Who do we like? Opportunity cost isn't great. Who are we prioritizing at second? Who do you love here at second, if anybody?
Torres. I like him a lot. 3.8K. He's kind of in that like mid-tier range. Like you said, second base is kind of a wasteland tonight. Should hit 4th or 5th tonight for the Yankees against the lefty. I mean, Suarez is not a bad pitcher, but he really struggles against power righties, and that's the whole lineup for the Yankees. So, or Colton Wong. Those would be the 2 guys that I think are going to get, good amount of ownership. If you're playing on DraftKings, you could maybe go Edman, but I hate the fact that he's hitting 9th tonight, unless you want to do like a wraparound St. Louis stack. But second base is a wasteland. You could even go down to like Biggio and just say, hey, 2.1K, he's hitting 6th tonight. I'm going to punt second base, and I don't think that's a bad strategy. Ceiling wise, if you want to pay all the way up, I would guess it's maybe Drury against the lefty, even though the lefty's really good. He has like double home run upside against any lefty. So second base is a position I think we're going to see a lot of people save money on tonight.
I think the BGO at second base on DK at 2-1 is a phenomenal play, like from just making stuff work perspective, and second base stinks. I don't know if optimals are spitting that out. They probably are, because they recognize, it's kind of a wasteland. Just looking at the St. Louis lineup, because we're going to see multiple pitchers on Cincy. I was just thinking about pinch hit stuff. So it's interesting they're starting Pujols versus the righty. They typically do not do that. They typically just have him against the lefty. But okay. And he's actually playing the field too. He's playing first base. Just kind of thinking through like who may or may not come out of this game. But we'll see. All right. Because I know Dave wrote about that too. And I wasn't thinking Pujols would play, but he is playing. All right. Let's talk about third base. Hot corner. Will, what do you got for me?
Yeah, man. Devers, more Devers. Like him a lot today at 5,800 against Bundy. Also like Matt Chapman. I know he's 5,200 on DK, down the 7-hole. Don't care. I love the Toronto Blue Jays today. You can get Max Muncy at third as well at 4,600 on DK. So don't hate that. You got Josh Donaldson at 4K against Suarez. that's what a great price for him in a fairly potent offense with a lot of guys back. So that's kind of where I am at third. I would be mixing in like a Gio Urshela at 2,800, Jace Peterson at 33. If I'm stacking those teams, like that would just kind of be hey, this is a part of my stat. But that's mostly where I am.
Yeah, much like the Drury call, I like Machado as like a leverage play, if you want to call it that, against Rodon. Like as much as you can hide on a 6 or 8 game slate, Machado is going to hide because there's no discount for the bad ballpark and the bad matchup. But for sure, Machado could like hit 2 homers in this game. And at 5% owned, I'm just making that number up. We do have ownership, but I don't think it'll be particularly popular just when you consider the matchup and the ballpark. Yeah, we're looking at around 5% tonight. Stevie, third base, what do you got?
As much as I like Devers, I don't know how much I actually get to him today as a one-off. He's just so expensive as a one-off. I think he's probably the best third base play on the slate. Nolan Arenado is someone I really like. Alec Boehm against Bumgarner. I'm going to mention every Philly bat. I love the Phillies today. And then if you want to go cheap on DraftKings, you can play Donovan hitting second against Anderson. I think he's going to be your cheaper, higher-owned third baseman today. You guys mentioned Donaldson, but yeah, I don't mind any of those. Third base is a position that was actually pretty easy for me to narrow down today.
I was trying to think. Yeah, so Dickerson's probably the guy most likely to come out of that St. Louis lineup. Maybe Donovan too. I'm not certain, but just kind of thinking like if things shuffle up as the game progresses, going to jump to shortstop and outfield the second. Crunch time crew coming in about 5-10 minutes as well.
But
Maybe
I mean,
we'll
to that point, really quick, as far as St. Louis is concerned, I mean, Carlson. I mean, it sounds like they want to give DeYoung a day off. Carlson, I guess, would be the pinch hit guy. Yepis got sent back down, and Carlson's a switch hitter. So I mean, it wouldn't shock me if Dickerson played the whole game.
They got the lefty off the bench too, who's not starting. The rookie second baseman, I think he's a second baseman.
Gorman.
Yes, I couldn't get to his name, but I kind of thought he would start today. He did not start for whatever reason. Why is Gleyber Torres min price on Yahoo? Probably because he's been terrible of late, and Yahoo reacts to prices. They react to how have you done lately more so than any other site. I'm assuming Gleyber Torres has not been great of late. The Yankees as an overall have not been great of late. So that's what makes sense to me. It's just they're very reflective of what have you done in the last 10 days. He's actually done okay, but $7 minimum price for sure. You can absolutely play him. What do you have at shortstop, Stevie?
And another note, as far as like the Cardinals go, the Cincinnati bullpen's the worst bullpen in baseball. It doesn't really matter. As far as shortstop goes, Adames is probably my favorite shortstop play. He's a lot of people's favorite shortstop play. This whole situation it's continuing to be bad righties that Pittsburgh's going to throw out there tonight. And Adames is kind of a, platoon hitter. So, I mean, I definitely don't mind Adames here. Bo Bichette, we've talked about Toronto quite a bit. I don't know. I think that's kind of it. I don't really have a ton of interest in shortstop today. Falifa, is that I think that's how we say his name? Yeah. I have him in like a mini Yankee stack where I'm using more of the bottom of the order as like a secondary stack. So I guess I should mention him too.
Two lefties then Cincinnati bullpen for what it's worth, like two of like 8 or 9 dudes. I did not add them up, but more or less. Gonna get Will's thoughts at shortstop, gonna knock out outfield. Do want to mention Stat Hero. If you're not aware of Stat Hero, it's a unique fantasy sports platform that allows users to compete only against the house. You're not competing against Stevie or Will or anybody in chat or myself. You participate in a head-to-head style contest where Stat Hero, they're going to provide a lineup. What you have to do is you got to beat that lineup. You got to pick that lineup, pick a lineup that beats it, head-to-head style. There's also a pick-em style contest available too. Feel free to check it out. Go to Stat Hero. You get a 50% deposit bonus up to $250. Use the promo code GRINDERS, GRINDERS. Again, that is Stat Hero. The promo code is GRINDERS, 50% deposit bonus up to $250. Will, what do you got for me as far as short? What would you like to add at shortstop?
I mean, listen, everybody's kind of mostly coming out of my stack right now. I do, for what it's worth in my placeholder, I do have Carlos Correa at 4,700. But I mean, if you can get up to Bo Bichette, great. If you can get up to Trey Turner, great. I'm all about it. I enjoy Wendell against Grove, like just because he's 3,800 and he probably won't strike out a ton. And so he's a guy that, once again, another one of those Stephen Kwan type plays, just is going to keep churning away fantasy points. So, that's where I'm at shortstop.
Let's see. They're asking about Adames. We like Adames at shortstop perfectly fine. Let's jump to the outfield. Kindly hit that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications. Football, man, we're going to be ramping it up. We're going to be having all sorts of shows, plethora of shows. Excited about my show. The people are probably aware if they're the one from last year. It's coming back. Haven't officially announced it just yet, but the Wednesday night show, we're that's going to be a go. That's going down. Looking forward to it. Talking some football midweek, and of course Sunday shows and Saturday shows, and you got the Blitz show with Carty, and I presume Will's going to be back also. That's I think is a part of the premium package. I'm not sure. I can't say. That's not my department. Give me some outfielders, Will.
Definitely. I talked about Max Kepler. He's one of my favorites tonight on DK. George Springer's expensive at 5,700. I don't hate him as well. Christian Yelich, 4,100. Stock just went way up, in my opinion, facing Bryce Wilson in the leadoff spot. I do have him in my placeholder. Don't hate Hunter Renfroe, 4K. His stock way up. I've got Cody Bellinger down here in the 8 hole at 3,800. Pablo's historically been worse to lefties than righties. Don't hate that. Same thing for Joey Gallo in the 6-hole. If you believe in magic. Lars Nootbaar leading off 3K. Really like him against Chase Anderson.
He's going to be chalky on DK, I think.
Yeah.
Assuming weather cooperates. We got Roth coming on in a few minutes. I see Alan in chat.
But Dean, here's the thing. We don't have to avoid all the chalk. We just build around it a little different. Like if you looked at my lineup right now, would you say this was chalky in terms of a full build? I'm not going to give you everybody. I do have – I'll give you most because I may not keep this complete lineup, but I've got Alejandro Kirk, Paul Goldschmidt, Biggio, Devers, Correa, Kepler, Yelich. I've got to fill out an outfielder. Would you consider that chalky?
Not terribly, no.
Correct. Because it's not like full stacks. It's just kind of picking and choosing. A couple one-offs here and there. Yeah.
By the way, Kelly is leading off the catcher for Arizona tonight, and they did call up the number 3 prospect in all of baseball, Carroll. It's left on left, and Suarez, I don't really want to pick on left, but he's 2K on DK. He's batting 8th. I'm excited to see. I was digging into his stuff. A power and speed guy, especially speed. He had something like 20 and like maybe 35 stolen bases this year. AAA, AA combination platter. Keep an eye on Carroll. Maybe not necessarily tonight. If you need a 2K guy, I don't hate it. But going forward, especially, DK, it takes a while to adjust their prices. He's 2.5 on FanDuel for what it's worth. Stevie, outfield, what do you got?
Springer, Castellanos, Gurriel, O'Neill, Donovan, Nootbaar, Renfroe, McCutchen, Yelich. Yeah. Pretty much Stanton, Judge, obviously. Any of the teams I've talked about stacks, just kind of looking at their outfielders. If I'm looking at who's in the best spot today, it's probably Aaron Judge. He's probably the top hitter on the slate, but you can pretty much say that any day and not be wrong. The dude is was he at 49 something home runs? I think he's at 49. He's a beast. And I hate saying
expensive. You got to pay for it, but when he hits his first homer, it's like, oh well, I guess I should have made some room. And I tend to not get him, which maybe I should be getting more of. And the ballpark's certainly fine there, and the matchup's certainly fine against a fly ball lefty. I don't know. In the expert survey today, he's the guy that I'm most afraid of not having enough of, and I probably am not going to have as much as the field, but I'm going to try. But salary cap and stuff's going to shuffle around depending on what Roth has to say as far as the Cardinals too. So, yeah.
I put Devers in that question today, and it could be all the Red Sox because, Dylan Bundy is a guy that could get blown up on any start. So, I'm way underweight on the Red Sox.
I picked Bogarts as my kind of under-the-radar homer. I don't think he's not an under-the-radar guy, but I don't think people are necessarily playing Bogarts today. And Bundy, yields fly balls, right? And he could be reverse splitsy. So, I don't love Boston either, but just I was looking for somebody. I think somebody took my answer, if I remember correctly, and I didn't want to double down, so I just went off the board with my second or third option. We do have, I believe, the Crunch Time crew is coming in here momentarily. Yep, they'll be joining us shortly. Give me some homers. Will, you go first. Give me 3 dudes that are going to bang out some home runs tonight. I'm going to guess at least 2 of them play for Milwaukee.
No, because those were late additions to the board based on the situation. So for me, absolutely Max Kepler's on the list for me today. Like him a lot. I also really like Paul Goldschmidt. I've talked about him. I like Freddie Freeman a lot as well, facing Pablo Lopez. I'm gonna keep digging in my bag here, Dean. I don't think me and Stevie are gonna cross over too much. Really like Vlad Guerrero. What's that?
No Sandy Leone?
No, not today. Like Vlad Guerrero, like Rafael Devers, a great deal. And yeah, I'm gonna let it sit right there.
Let's see. In chat, they're asking about anything weather edge-wise. Nothing really. The only one that could be interesting is Minnesota. The sample is just too small for me to acknowledge it, but it looks like it's going to play well with the wind blowing out. 7-game sample is not enough for me, but it did get a positive bump. Maybe Roth will have a thought in that. I presume Roth is knocking on the door and will be here shortly. Roth, Derek Carty, Dave Potts. Dave Potts and Carty they're getting their game face on. They're ready to chat. Again, whenever they've been combating on these crunch time shows having healthy disagreements. So maybe something will spark up organically one more time. That's always good times. Stevie, can you see those homers that Will called and raise them? What do you got in your bag?
Let's go Tellis, Bohm, and Hunter Renfroe.
The chat's asking about Franchi. Anybody like Franchi Cordero? I think he's cheap, right? He's 2K. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather punt second base than punt an outfield spot, but I guess he's in play.
Yeah. He's outfield eligible, right? Yeah, he's outfield / first base. Yeah, I would be more likely to throw him in the outfield. I'm not enthused about rostering him, but sure, you can, I guess. Anything else going on in chat before we head over to the crunch time crew? I believe they're going to be here. Hey, there he is, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. He's here with us. Carty and Dave. Did you guys see Carty, Dave? The RotoGrinders accounts? They're trying to get you guys to fight. They've been watching the crunch times. They've been seeing you guys having your healthy disagreements, and I personally enjoy watching it. I think Roth gets like. He just doesn't. It makes him uncomfortable.
I don't like conflict.
You just said
I'm anti-conflict.
you just said healthy disagreement. There's nothing healthy about it. It's not a disagreement. Cheese is an idiot, and I need to make sure people know.
It's just straight up bad blood at this point. Yeah.
Don't do this. I hate this.
Hey, listen, we're going to have a
tend to be super mean. Like I really do. I can't pull it off, but.
We're gonna have to start putting this out on Twitter, like the Siege and what was the other guy's name? Gee, they were gonna do an MMA match.
There's a lot of fake fights that never happened.
We're gonna get it started right now.
His doctor wouldn't sign off on it. I think
RG Party 2023.
Yeah, one of these days it'll pay off, I suppose. David, you look at the bat today. Was there anything egregious that you said this is absurd? This is silly. I can't wait to yell at Carty about it.
No, I was looking for it. So no, I do the thing. So I do all my stuff before I look at the projections, and I'm like actively rooting for something to massively disagree with. Sadly, it's not there. We're gonna have to come up with something even more nonsense than before to find something to fight about. But maybe we'll get there. We'll see. Maybe we can just argue with Roth about how bad he is.
Yeah, that sounds so much worse. Please no.
Jamino chat says Carty can definitely cut a wrestling promo. I know this story. You've talked about it before, Carty. You were under the tutelage to some degree of Bam Bam Bigelow, correct?
Yes, I was. Bam Bam Bigelow was my dad's best friend growing up, so he came to like my birthday party and like took me backstage at events, and I got to like meet all like the guys. It was a pretty cool childhood if you were a wrestling fan, which I was.
Roth, the people want me to stop yammering. They want to hear what's going on in Cincinnati. I'll yield to you. Unless you got anything else, Stevie, Will, anything with the boys, or shall we step aside and get out of here?
I'm out.
Well, there you go. Will, you're good?
I'm good.
That was Will. That was Stevie. I was Dean. The start of the Fanduel sponsor crunch time and weather. What's going on in Cincinnati? It's Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. Take it away.
Appreciate it, Dino. As always, welcome to it. Crunch time. Sponsored by FanDuel. Make sure you're getting in that FanDuel Single After Series. $50K in bonus cash up for grabs. I think this is the last week to be able to snag a spot in the final. So make sure you're in that. Top finisher in each series gets an all-expenses pay trip to the Single Entry Series Championship in Chicago on September 9th. Shot at the $10,000 grand prize. And Meansy is matching your wins. Whatever you win, Meansy is out of his own pocket. Meansy's going to match the win.
Plus the ride on the spaceship. This is such a huge package already. This is great.
You're really doing great things. Hey guys, excellent to have you here. It is a couple of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. Dave Potts, aka Cheese is Good. How you doing, Cheese?
I'm doing great. It's a great slate. It's a small slate, but it's a great slate. And then after this, I'm going out for a hibachi. So I mean, I'm in a pretty great mood. I'm not really in a fighting mood unless you prefer sushi to hibachi. Then we could argue that a little bit. Carty seems like a sushi guy.
I like both. I really like hibachi too. I don't have any issue to take with that.
Yeah, they're both
that was
fantastic,
all I could think. Yeah, no.
We're putting out feelers. We're trying to find the fight. I like the Cheese. He's searching. We're looking for it. We got Derek Carty as well. He is chief foreman of the Bat and the Bat X Enterprises. Carty, how you feeling, man?
Doing pretty well. Chief foreman is okay. You know, you get to boss around Fred Flintstone. You get to Yeah, you get to pull on the dinosaur that yells at the end of the day, and yeah,
You've got some underlings. Yeah, that works. How you feeling about the slate?
I guess not as, I don't know. I don't like it as much as Cheese does. Like, it's a small slate, but like, I don't know. Like, everything seems like it's going to be more or less efficiently owned. I think there's a few ways to get different that are fine, but like, I don't see anything jumping out as like, wow, this is going to be so under-owned, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Okay. Well, as Dean mentioned, there are some weather concerns, and it's just one spot. It's Cincinnati. We officially have a late start in Cincinnati right now. This is, correct me if I'm wrong, only on the DK slate, which starts at 6:40, right?
Yeah,
correct.
Which is a bummer, because if it was only on the FanDuel slate, if they were reversed, we could do the just play it anyways, and FanDuel will probably let you. I was hoping we could do that, but not the case. Officially, it's orange because we've got a late start. It's a lock. Orange is a high chance of a delay and a chance for a postponement, so that certainly fits the bill. I still think they're just going to late start and play. I think it's probably going to be a 2-hour late start, and they're going to play. There's risk, I can't promise you it plays. It's not as if it's just a thin little line. It's raining pretty good. It'll clear out, and then I think they're going to play. So that's where I stand on it. If you don't want any risk, don't play it. You play literally any other game, and you don't have any weather risk. So if anything changes, I'll let you know, but that's where I stand. Does that work for you?
Yeah, it's a very popular game for St. Louis bats are one of the chalkiest things going. So, and there's a lot of the guys people are going to be using this one-offs in that game.
It actually kind of sucks this weather, because I feel like St. Louis is going to be the most over-owned team on the slate today. And if weather drives that ownership down, that's not good for anybody.
Yeah. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is there's this second line trying to drop in, but every forecast model has that fading out. Every single model I look at says it's not going to make it there. It looks pretty healthy now, but I'm just going to trust forecast models. The first batch of rain clears out in about an hour. Second batch never makes it. They play 2 hours after first pitch. That is my official forecast. And if anything changes, I will let you know. Well, let's talk about this slate here. Cheese, you want to give us an overview?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's very clear. Like, the reason there's kind of nothing to argue about is like it just is what it is. I'm finding enough on the offensive side that it's not different, but different enough that you can get over the field on whatever you want to get over the field on. But the pitching side is pretty obvious, and it's pretty good. But you can go different salary ranges if you want to, and we'll talk about that. I guess let me just jump into the pitching side. We're going to go DK first because that slate is locking.
We do have.
Do we have enough time?
22 minutes. If you want to just go through everything, we could.
All right, we'll kind of combine them then.
Yeah, I think we can.
So, like, this slate shows very clearly what a matchup means. Like, I would say, I think Rodon is slightly better than Burns as a pure pitcher right now. But when one guy's facing the Pirates and one guy's facing the Padres, like, yeah, just play the guy facing the Pirates. I mean, it really is that simple. The ownership is going to be double or so on Burns. So that's where you play so what are you doing with the rest of your lineup game? Rodon is absolutely one of those guys that can dominate anybody, but it's just not that likely at this price. So my preferred way to get off of Burns chalk is not just to play Rodon, is to play two cheaper guys or one cheaper guy. The point that I was, again, hoping we could argue about is Frankie Montas. Like, I was digging it to try to find a reason not to like him because he hasn't looked good since a shoulder injury over a month ago. And I really want to dislike a guy that has a reason why he's been struggling, a shoulder injury. But when you look at the underlying stuff, I see no red flags. Like, the velocity's fine. He's throwing his normal pitches. He's not even getting hit real hard. I think he's just underpriced. And he is going to be popular. Like, Burns Montas is mega chalk combo. on DK, and I just can't argue with it. If Montas was showing like decreased velocity or something to give a reason behind it, I would love to be off of that chalk, but I can't do it. I think Burns Montas is very good chalk.
Okay, but you got to do something else. I mean, that's the chalkiest of the chalk.
So for me, the next thing would be Montas Barrios. The one spot where, maybe I have a slight disagreement is, Lopez, Barrios, Clevenger are all projected about the same on the bat. I like Barrios better, but as ownership does too. So I think you can mix and match those guys. But doing Montas and Barrios gets you different without being silly. And then
Barrios. What a dumb thing to say.
He's the worst. So these cheap guys, the Dodgers, we were going to argue about Tony Gonsolin because he would have been the best pitcher on the slate by far. So this Michael Grove character is 4K on DraftKings. He's like he's an above average minor league pitcher. We haven't seen him in the majors to know. He had one start a long time ago. It was not very good. But he's not a 4K pitcher. He's like a 6 or 7K pitcher in Miami. I think he's a great play. He's not going to be super sneaky because he's 4K. I almost wish he was 6K because then no one would play him. Mm-hmm. But I'm playing a fair amount of Grove, and I am still in on Brian Baio as well. Baio. If you look at his numbers, we talk about this guy's been lucky or unlucky. No one has been unluckier than this guy. He's allowed 2 barrels all year. His ground ball rate, it's Valdez, him, and then everybody else. Like, he's really good. So I'm playing a fair amount of Baio and Grove to get different as well. And I'm okay not being like all in on Burns, even though he's the clear best play.
Okay. Is there a reason why we need to save? Are there some pricey bats? Because I want to play Grove and Baio.
Yeah. Well, when we get to the bats, like you can go Goldschmidt, Judge, Arenado, Bichette, Vlad, Otani. Yes, you can absolutely spend that money.
Okay. Interesting. All right, Carty, what are your thoughts there? My main
thought right now is thinking about Cheese sitting at a hibachi table and whether or not he can catch the cucumber in his mouth that the guy throws. And I don't think he can do it.
Is that what we're searching for fighting? He's got no skills.
I will
at the
definitely
table.
video me. The guy at our place throws the egg. I would not try to catch a cucumber in my mouth. That's ridiculous.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, he cuts up the egg and throws a little piece of egg.
Oh, all right.
I don't know how your hibachi chefs do it in Boston or whatever, but
I think every hibachi place I've ever been to does the cucumber. All right.
I've never seen the cucumber either, to be fair. That's new to me, but continue.
All right. So, yeah. Cheese is right. Like, Burns is clearly the top guy. Rodon is a tier below, and then everyone else is a tier below that. Montas is the guy you pair with Burns and Cash on DraftKings. In GBPs, like Cheese said, like Lopez, Barrios, Clevenger, Ranger Suarez, they all project like basically the same. But Barrios does project to be higher owned than all of them. So for me, I'd much rather play one of those other 3 rather than play Barrios. And I agree about Grove and Brian Baio in particular. He projects it. I think the bat had him at like 3% ownership, and he's one of the better point per dollar guys on the slate. So, like, I really do just agree with everything she said.
Yeah, you do. Okay. So I was right.
Yes. Okay, let's talk FanDuel Pictures real quick, Carty. Is there anything different pricing wise on FanDuel that stands out? Can you just pick one of these cheap guys?
On FanDuel, like, you probably don't have to get like as cute. I don't even think Grove is on FanDuel, right? It's the same thing. Like, Burns is great. Rodon's going to come in behind him, and then everything else is just something to be different. Like, Ranger Suarez and Clevenger kind of look like the guys that are a little bit under-owned relative to everyone else on FanDuel. So maybe those are the guys you prioritize a little bit in your, being different builds, but you really can do any of it. Even Montas only projects for like 10% ownership there. So it's, anything besides Burns is going to make you pretty different.
Okay. Cheese, anything you want to add on FanDuel?
No, I have one Baio lineup, but it's really unnecessary on FanDuel. Like I had to work pretty hard to spend that salary. So Yeah, you go up over 8K for the most part. And really, it's not that hard to get burns.
Okay, let's talk about some of the stacks. Carty, you want to lead us off there?
Yeah, so the top stacks today in terms of projection and ownership are Philadelphia and St. Louis. The bat likes Philadelphia a little bit more. I think the field is going to like St. Louis a little bit more. They project as the highest owned team today. I think they're going to be over-owned. Like, the spot is great. I don't have a problem with St. Louis. But if they are going to come in this high-owned, if people aren't scared off by the weather, I don't think I have a ton of interest in them in GPPs. I'd much rather play Philly if I'm going to play a chalkier offense. And then there's ways to, be different. So, like, if you're going with, like, a cheaper, Baio or whoever pitcher, the Blue Jays project really well. The prices aren't great on them, but, like, they fit with that type of build. And then I think under-owned teams today are going to be, like, the Cubs for sure are going to be under-owned. I think the Reds are going to be a little bit under-owned. You can make a case for like the Red Sox, the Brewers, the Yankees. There's a few today, but I think that's kind of the landscape.
Okay. Cheese?
Yeah, I think it's going to get pretty spread out between Phillies, Cardinals on DK, Blue Jays, Brewers, and then like a handful of Red Sox and Yankees, like kind of certain guys. I would say out of those non-Cardinals and non-Phillies, I like the Brewers the best. To me, it's an upgrade that Bryce Wilson is pitching. Like, whoever was going to be pitching for them was going to be bad. He's bad. And just a note, the Phillies lineup came out as we started, and Castellanos is not in there, which doesn't really hurt the stack. I mean, they still have – he wasn't even in my top 5, really. But, yeah, it's a great slate. And I think it's going to just get spread out enough that I don't think you have to not play your favorite thing because of ownership, because it's going to get more or less spread out among 4 or 5 teams.
Okay, excellent. We still have 12 minutes before lock here, so let's go position by position. And a quick note, reading the YouTube chat, everyone says the hibachi chefs throw a shrimp tail. That's what I'm used to. They throw shrimp tails around the table.
They charge us for shrimp. They're not just throwing around shrimp. I don't know
It's just
what fancy world you guys live in.
You don't get a couple free shrimp with your
Oh, no.
hibachi? Like, that's just like, that's the appetizer that you just get no matter what.
Yeah, I would just go table to table and catch shrimp and then leave.
And why would they throw a cucumber? Cucumber isn't even something you cook. You don't even
It's
put
not.
a cucumber.
It's not cucumber. It's zucchini. Someone did
Zucchini,
point that
okay.
out.
That
I
makes-
misspoke, but yeah.
All right.
Makes a little more sense.
That makes more sense. But all right, anyways, let's go position by position. Cheese, start me off with some catcher talk.
It's not too bad up top. It's expensive, but Real Muto, of course, is going to be the chalk. Alejandro Kirk is right there with him. And then Carty mentioned the Cubs. Contreras, it still just looks weird to have him up there, but he's great. And as far as ownership goes, if you want to spend up and be different, like, he's clearly the guy. And then Will Smith is there with him. Like, Contreras and Smith are just about as good as Real Muto and Kirk. So as one-offs, I like those guys betters. Mm-hmm. And then cheaper, I like Jansen.
Okay, Carty.
Yeah, those 4 are the top tier. Jansen's kind of right below them and a lot cheaper, so I like Jansen a lot. You also have Andrew Kanizer for the Cardinals at 2K on DraftKings. With the weather, you probably just fade that game, I feel like, in cash, but he is 2K, so you can play him, in your other lineups if you want, for sure.
Okay, first base.
So Paul Goldschmidt is the top guy today. They're going into Cincinnati. It's a huge park upgrade. They're facing Chase Anderson, who's quite bad. Reverse splits righty, which is really good for a guy like Goldschmidt. But again, the weather, I don't think you have to play Goldschmidt. You can definitely go down and play some other guys. Like, we have Vlad, who's in a really good spot. I like Shohei quite a bit as a tournament play, not as a cash play, but Montas is going to pick up some ownership. Ohtani's amazing. Going to come in fairly low owned, too low owned for who he is, and you get some leverage. So I like him quite a bit. Over on FanDuel, Rhys Hoskins is like always super underpriced. He's 3.4 today. with the platoon advantage against Bumgarner. So I love Hoskins there. And Rowdy Tellez on FanDuel at 2.8. Even on DraftKings at 3.9, though, is going to be a good play. Bryce Wilson is very, very bad. And so I like that quite a bit. And then you do have Albert Pujols on DraftKings at 2.2. Again, it's this weather game. But anyone who stacks the Cardinals, I would think for the most part, is going to gravitate more towards Goldschmidt. Pujols will come in a little lower owned. The price might make it close, but still a way to make it a little bit different. And he's doing some kind of magic right now. So I don't even know what to say about him.
Okay. And I will note, Carter, you mentioned, Goldschmidt, but there's all these other good pivots if you don't want the weather risk.
Yeah, in cash, you don't have to mess with it, I don't think.
Right. But great. If you can avoid those plays, great, because I don't know the outcome. I think it's a 2-hour late start and play, but that's not a promise.
Well, you have it orange, which is a scary color. So
yeah, well, it's already in a late start, and it's going to be a bit. So we shall see. Cheese, okay, first base.
The price gap really on both sites between those top couple guys and then like Hoskins and Tellez is just too much. So I think it makes Hoskins and Tellez kind of my two favorite guys. I like on DK, I like Ohtani better than Goldschmidt, even in Montas lineups. Vlad's sort of the question mark for me. This is the pitcher. Like, we don't know anything about this guy. He's at least potentially okay. Like, I don't love trying to play individual Blue Jays bats as spend ups because I'm just not sure if this guy's good. And it's conceivable that he is. And then like the cheap guy that I like is going to be Franchy Cordero. I don't love him, but he's cheap.
Okay. Take me to second.
Second base is, as always, just kind of weird. It's gotten a little better with Trevor Story coming back. Gleyber Torres, I'm not sure where people are at currently on the Yankees. Like the general public has this just fierce reaction to the Yankees one way or another. And when they're kind of
the
bad for a
greatest
little
team
while,
on earth, or they're terrible. Depending on
people just
their last 5 games
just lose it. And so I don't think Torres will get enough ownership for how cheap he is. So I would say he and Story are my two favorite guys. I do like Colton Wong mostly in stacks. Segura mostly in stacks. Kevin Biggio is okay as a super cheap guy. But I don't particularly like anything other than Torres and Story.
Okay. Carty, second.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like Torres, I think, is the top guy. He's reasonably priced on both sites. Like he's your cash guy. On FanDuel, Biggio's the cheap guy. On DraftKings, Christian Arroyo is probably the cheap guy. But Colton Wong is pretty good, pretty well priced on both sites. Gene Segura in your Philly stacks. I think Ketel Marte on FanDuel is well priced. I like him in tournaments.
Okay, let's speed it up a little bit because we've only got 6 minutes until lock. So third base.
Yeah, Devers is your top option at third base. Not a guy that you have to get up to, but you can certainly play him, especially if you're kind of ruling out Nolan Arenado on DraftKings because of the weather. Devers is going to be that high-end guy that's kind of a cut above everybody else. But Donaldson, I think, is good for the Yankees. I don't think we have a lineup there, but assuming he's in the lineup. Alec Boehm for Philly. Brendan Donovan is hitting second for St. Louis and is very reasonably priced. And on FanDuel, Matt Chapman is really cheap and certainly in your Toronto stacks on any site.
Cheese?
Yeah, the Yankees just came out as you were saying that, and there is no Donaldson, actually.
So not Donaldson then.
So don't do that. He was on my list as well, but everything else looks okay. We got Judge Stanton, Torres, LeMahieu, Rizzo, and Benintendi. Okay. Anyhow, so kind of like at first, the spend ups are great, but then like Alec Boehm is enough cheaper that I'm totally fine with him. I really do like a little bit of Manny Machado, just as the spend up to be way different against a good pitcher. Partly thinking, of course, Machado can hit anybody, but more like the way these matchups line up, Rodon could throw like 95 pitches in 5 innings because they're going to make him work. So I think we will get hopefully 4-ish innings against the bullpen, and nobody's going to play him. Otherwise, I think Carty named everybody there.
Excellent. So
on shortstop, I love Willy Adames. I really like the Brewers probably more than I should, but I like them a lot, and he's my guy. Xander Bogaerts is my other favorite guy. Those are pretty much the two guys I'm playing on their own outside of stacks. This is not a night, I think, to prioritize Trey Turner. It's always fine if you're just sitting on money for some reason. And then the guys like Bichette and Correa and Edman, and it's all fine. But to me, Adames and Bogaerts are the only two I'm particularly interested in.
okay, Carty, short.
Yeah, I like Adames and Bogarts. I like Bichette maybe more than Cheese does. I think the Blue Jays in general are good tonight. We don't know who this Assad guy is, but I don't think he's that good. The bat doesn't think he's that good, and the Blue Jays are certainly very good. Kind of the cheap guy that you're looking for. On FanDuel, Nick Gordon is 2.2K. He's hitting fifth against Baio. So I think if you want to save money there, that's totally fine.
Okay, outfield.
Yeah, so like the Phillies guys, like Kyle Schwarber, his price is finally going up on FanDuel a little bit, and he's lefty tonight, but he's still Kyle Schwarber. The spot is still really good, so I like him quite a bit. Obviously, the St. Louis guys, Tyler O'Neill, Lars Nootbaar, they're going to be really good plays. On the opposite side of that game, again, if you're playing it, TJ Friedel is hitting fifth for 2.1 on DraftKings for Cincinnati. On DraftKings, Matt Vierling is 2K for Philly, and he's really good. Again, Nick Gordon, outfield eligible on both sites, outfield only on DraftKings, and he's the minimum. Jake Fraley in that Cincinnati game, again, a lot of the best bats in the outfield are from there, but there are plenty of other things you can play also.
All right, Cheese, outfield.
Aaron Judge. Oh, more. Okay.
Is it? That's all you got?
Yeah, he's really good. Again, I like Ohtani. Even if you're playing Montas, I like Ohtani, and I don't even mind Trout. But Judge and Stanton are my two favorite guys. I really do like both Harper and Schwarber. When you look at the numbers, like Bumgarner has been bad against righties for a while. He doesn't look to be good against lefties either. Like he just doesn't have much left. Renfroe is my favorite mid-tier guy. And then you can start throwing in a bunch of other mid-tier stuff. Like I think the Red Sox are fine, like Ian Happ or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. All the sort of power bats for the Cubs, Cardinals, Red Sox, Brewers, like they're all kind of mushed together. And yeah, I don't know what to do with like Nootbaar and Fraley and Friedel and Dickerson at this point in that rain game. I think they're going to be popular anyway, especially Nootbaar. So I don't really love playing him as a one-off. That's where I would, try something like the Franchi Cordero, just to be different. There you go.
Okay, excellent. We've got less than a minute until lock. DKGPP, Cheese, Stanton Kirk or Judge Jansen?
Judge Jansen.
DKGPP, Carty, Arroyo, O'Neill, or Edmund Fraley?
The first one.
Chinatown, DK Cash, Trevino, or Jansen at catcher?
Jansen.
Cheese, DK Cash, 3v3, Jansen, Tellez, O'Neill, or Kanizer, Goldie, Yelich?
Jansen, Tellez, O'Neill.
Okay, with that, we should just about be coming up on lock. This is going to be a fun 90 minutes, just watching this rain slowly clear. It's going to be a good time.
I will be eating so much fried rice while you watch that rain.
Oh, I'm glad that, you deserve it. Enjoy that. Are they going to do onion volcano? What are the odds that we get onion volcano?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, got it.
Do they shoot the sake at you, and do you drink it? You're probably not a sake guy.
No, I'm not. That's way out of my zone there.
Do they do the rice into a heart and then put the spatula underneath and then make the heart beat?
Sometimes, so it's different every time. You never know what you're going to get.
You don't know.
That's one of the options. They're all great though.
Oh, they're all good. All good. All right, let's see. We hit the lock here for DK. We obviously went through DK and FanDuel, but we'll hang around. We'll take a few more QQs, obviously, preferably FanDuel questions. So I'm going to jump on over to the YouTube. Booby says, I locked in 100% cards in a GPP. You got to gamble big to win big. You got to risk it for the biscuit. Cheese, you like that?
Not really, but I mean, I get it. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Soto on FanDuel in a GPP as a one-off. Carty, you like any Soto as a one-off?
No, I mean it's lefty against one of the best pitchers in baseball. Like he'll be low owned, sure. You get some leverage, but I think it's a little thin.
Okay. Yankee stack, is it free money in a FanDuel GPP? Cheese, is that free money?
I'm not sure it's free money. I do like them in a FanDuel single entry.
Okay.
I don't think they'll give you the money for free, but I do like it.
All right. Brett says FanDuel, your favorite stack to win it all in a GPP. Cheese, you can go first.
The Milwaukee Brewers.
Carty.
The Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay. Darren says, hey, I just got here. Well, you're a little tardy, but we'll allow it as, you're a regular. FanDuel Cash, your favorite pitcher. Carty, who's the pitcher you go in FanDuel Cash?
Burns, and that's it. Anything else is really bad.
Okay. Just Burns it is. Brian Bello, thoughts on him. In DK, you both liked him, but that's not a FanDuel play? Or is it?
I mean, you can. On DK, he has more appeal because you have to play two guys. On FanDuel, a lot of times you don't have to go that deep, but you can. He's well.
I have like one. If you just really want to build that lineup with all the studs, which it looks pretty great. I mean, it's viable, but he shouldn't be a big part of your plans.
Okay. Let's see. Ooh, that question's already gone. FanDuel Cash from Sherman's Tanks. Carty, Wong Bomb or Biggio Devers?
The Wong Bomb.
The Wong Bomb.
I didn't even hear the other half of the question because I love that.
Can't go wrong with a Wong Bomb. Carty, Wong Bomb or Biggio Devers?
Was there a format given?
I think it was FanDuel Cash. Yes, FanDuel Cash.
I'd probably go Biggio Devers, but either one is fine.
Okay. FanDuel Cash, 2v2. Cheese, you want Kepler Hoskins or Gurriel and Vladdy Daddy?
I would see that's close. I would go with the two Blue Jays.
Okay. DK Cash, Carty making your work. Best shortstop for 3,200. DK locked already, but
yeah, let me pull up salaries real quick. 3,200.
Yep.
It's not a good price range. It's like Brandon Crawford, probably, but then you have a bunch of money to spend elsewhere.
Gotcha. All right. DK GPP Cheese. Giants are usually a sneaky stack when they play late, but are they worth the risk considering their bats are fully and completely dead?
I mean, you combine that with the pinch hit risk, and I mean they're barely on my list. Like I have one Giant stack that I assume I'll have to change when the lineup comes out. Barely.
Yeah. Okay. What's the order for you at a hibachi place? You go with the combo, or are you focusing on one protein? What's your move?
Probably a combo.
It's all so good that you really want to.
And really, like, it's so expensive to get one, and it's like not that expensive to get a second one. Mm-hmm. And then if you get the double rice, then you get some leftovers. And that's what we'll do.
The leftovers are big there, man. You get, all the veggies and good stuff. Let's see. FanDuel Cash. Is Jace Peterson okay, Carty, if it gets me Judge?
I guess he's fine. It's probably not the route I would go, but it's not terrible.
Okay. 2v2 FanDuel Cash. Bohm Stanton. Is it Bohm or Bomb? Someone let me know.
Bohm.
That's just way worse. Bohm
Except it's a Wong bomb.
It's unless if he's paired with Wong, then it's Bomb. Bohm, Stanton, or Jace Judge. Cheese.
Yeah, that's why you get the Jace to get Judge question. I would lean Bohm Stanton there.
Okay, great. If you've got the money for both shrimp and steak or teriyaki chicken, that's where you have to go the shrimp and steak. You want more proteins.
Yeah, I'm thinking steak and chicken tonight probably, but I'll let you know what happens. So I know you care.
Good there too, man. I do actually, yeah. All right, DK Cash, Carty. This is a 3v3 for you. Hoskins, Real Muto, Biggio, or Tellez, Kirk, Torres.
Probably the second one.
DKGPP from Chinatown, Burns Grove, and stack up the expense. Basically, Burns Grove and release the Hounds in a big DKGPP.
Yeah, I like it a good bit.
Yeah, I like it as well. FanDuel Cash, I need a cheapie at second. Wong or right? Wrong or right? Because it sounds like wrong or right. You get it?
I do get it.
Yeah. Carty, you got a preference there? Wong or right?
Is there a second base?
I don't know who right is.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Oh, he's
I'll
maybe
probably
just
take Colton Wong over him though.
yeah. Maybe it's a fun joke because it's wrong or right. FanDuel Cash, BZO Judge, or Devers Hoskins.
I think it's Devers Hoskins for me.
Okay. Hey, guess what, guys? We caught up on all the QQs. We gave all the info. Now we stare at a radar for a couple more hours here.
Sounds fascinating.
Just clear on out, baby. So just come on, slowly clear on out of there. Yeah. That's that. I think we are going to get on out of here. So for the excellent pairing of Cheese and for Carty and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. Hit that like button. This is a free show. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.